and welcome back to Trekyards Mission Briefing. Today, we're looking at a ship from the brand big, huge scope of the Trek universe, including the new show as it... Stuart, this is a hint, this is a direct hint to what we're doing today, but don't let the fans be confused any longer. What we're doing today? Are we looking at Discovery?
Oh.
Is that my hint?
No. We're doing the new Star Trek fidget spinners that are available on StarTrek.com. Check it out. They spin. No. We're talking about Discovery, guys. Matter of fact, we're talking about early Discovery, some concepts. Now, you have the Eagle Moss ship there, which means you also have the magazine. And as you guys know, if you have the magazine, there are some concept sketches in there done by John Eves, which we're going to talk about today. We've already looked at like the earliest one, Orthos-wise.
Yeah.
And this one, we're going to take a look at these and kind of compare them and talk about the progression, the evolution of the Discovery design.
Yeah, there's 4 great sketches, but they each have a certain theme. But it's really 2 and 2. So we're going to look at these 2 together, as obviously John was sketching, changing, whatever. But these 2 have a similar vibe and are closer to the Ralph McQuarrie original of the first time we looked at it. Interesting sketches, different, but they're similar. I guess, straight off the top of your head, which one do you prefer out of the left pointing that way and the right pointing that way?
I prefer that one. Just the shape of the body, the fact that it's not flat, I think really kind of helps the ship quite a bit. So.
Yes, actually.
Do you agree with this? Is this your choice as well?
Yeah, I think so. It's a more interesting set of shapes, and the thicker neck balances it all better. Clearly, the saucer is bigger and the second level is smaller, whereas the other view, we've unfortunately gone back to the severely out of perspective version. And interestingly enough, and we haven't really looked at these yet, the right-hand side one appears to have some sort of cutout in the saucer, and then the bigger bull dome, which is of the spore drive of that style. But the other version does not. Has a much more classical feel, and I think works a ton better.
Mm-hmm. I would totally agree with you. I kind of see, for the number one, we'll call it the upper one. Yeah. I think you can definitely see the Enterprise E design influences from John Eves. I mean, those impulse engines definitely say Enterprise E. Yep. It also looks like it's got a shuttle bay in between the impulse engines.
Yeah.
Which would have been neat, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. One for cargo, one for not. Or even, would have been fun to see like them installing the spore drive, or having to install spores or something. That'd be kind of fun. Like, if it was meant to be built around this technology, then it, form for its function and whatnot.
Yeah, and as we said, we don't know what the early design or directives were from the studio or Brian Fuller. What was the spore drive a thing from the very beginning, or was it just an experimental drive at that point?
Well, there's reports that the writers came in, and when Brian Fuller left, they said, right, we're going to swap everything around, like make the tardigrade from being a crewman to being an alien, and then Stamets had to be changed, and then the Mirror Universe got changed where it was, and then the spore drive, all up in the air, but we don't really know when these phases came in. And to be fair, these designs could be plucked out from any part of the design process. We just picked them because they're slightly closer. But it's clear that one is more McQuarrie, I think, the left, the first one. Even the Star Destroyer influence by having the hull be angled, whereas the other one is far more the Discovery that we know. The neck, the body, it flows more like they were going anyway.
I think I would disagree with you a little bit on that one.
Okay.
The one that's more flat, it's lacking this noticeable nacelle pylons. They're attached to the Star Destroyer shape, and that's much more in line, I think, with the original McQuarrie idea. I think that's why I prefer the upper one as a little bit better, is because it does have more of the proportions that we know and love from Star Trek ships, and also the fact that it's got the struts and things. It just at first glance, subconsciously it says Star Trek. The other one kind of doesn't. At least that's my thinking on it. You are right. The upper one does have more of a Star Destroyer kind of shape because it's more 3-dimensional.
Yeah.
But it's proportioned with the larger saucer and things. I think it just looks more Star Trek-y than the other one.
Yeah, it's tricky. What do you think about the engines, though? Because in a previous episode, we saw similar design, but they were clearly flatter, rectangular style. These are more cylinder. But remember, no cylinders allowed. That was a directive from the start. So how do you design nacelles between cylinder, cylinder, and cylinder into cylinder, cylinder, sort of oval, full oval, pointy? How do you put it in between like 5 generations of ovals or cylinders? Sorry. How do you make it? How does that make any sense? Again, I wouldn't want to be that design tasked with that. So what do you think of this way around that? Because they're not cylinders.
They are though. I mean, I like this design style, but they're backwards. Turn them around and we have something that I would really like. I don't like the thinner, pointier parts at the front because, as we've said with Starship design, a lot of times it looks like it's trailing on. It's going fast, standing still.
Yes.
And this one looks like it's going backwards, standing still, because of the way it trails. I would have preferred they spin those around and kept the cylinders as opposed to doing what they did with Discovery and making them kind of like the rectangles. So that's my thought on it. I do kind of like the placement of the where the strut attaches, kind of near the back, is kind of neat. And we did see that with the Alpha that we saw in San Diego Comic-Con, with the clunkier, bulkier nacelles. But I did like that attachment idea instead of trailing so far back. So
yeah, I think even with the weird design, the way the left concept works, it feels more balanced. The other one, they feel small and like I said, going backwards, and you know, it's super segmented, and to be fair, it feels like a penknife, you know, especially the left hand one. You know, you press a button and then the knife comes out. You know, it's got that sort of vibe. But if you cut that a bit, made it the red Bassard, I can kind of buy, I guess, an oval thin Bassard that sticks out. I guess, like, I don't know what this is meant to be, the way it's presented.
Wouldn't it be neat if that forward section that's so much skinnier actually slides back into the nacelle and only comes out when it engages its drive, its experimental drive, instead of having
that's where you're going with it.
Instead of having the saucer spin? Wouldn't it be cool if when the ship was just normal, the nacelles were shorter, and then those extended out and created some kind of field or something? That would be very cool, actually.
That's interesting. I mean, to be fair, if they know that warp is only, you know, 3% of their journey style, you don't need to collect the stellar matter of Bassard necessarily. Yeah, sure. That's really interesting, actually. And then it becomes a functional part of the system. Yeah, I could dig that, and then it would give a reason, a reason to the rhyme. But I do like the end caps. Keeps them not cylinder and yet give them that, or at least not conventional and yet have that classical piece.
Number one, the one up top. The nacelle should be turned and also rotated because the way the angle is on the front of those, I think works better if it was backwards and down. The other one has the angle correct for me, but still the nacelle needs to be spun around. If you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It just seems odd to me the way they have these drawn. So.
Although it's interesting, both don't reflect anything TOS.
Well, no, I would say not.
I mean, the left-hand one, which is definitely more Star Trek, as we agree, this also feels a lot like John Eve's original concept for the NX-01, the two like the TOS Enterprise Connie, which actually has some beautiful pieces to it that has a much more similar feel. And I can see him using his own inspiration. I mean, he did a ship with negative space in the hull that he's designed that before, so it's not, you know, not different from.
Yeah. The upper one as well, the saucer is I think it's very reminiscent, just the shape and especially the edge of the Ambassador class.
Yeah.
So take that for what it's worth.
or even NX-ish.
Yeah.
In that vein, because they've got a slightly different point as well. And also the neck. I do actually kind of prefer the big, bulky, thick neck of the right hand side. It's strange. It's got like sort of split levels, and then it's got a flat bit at the front, which doesn't look right. And again, these could be drawn in 5 minutes, in 2 minutes, in 1 minute. I mean, we don't know. But it's interesting to see the direction or chosen not direction. You know, obviously on the actual Discovery, it all comes to a point which kind of mitigates its weird feel, you know. But again, really strangely small deflector amount. You know, again, oddly proportioned. This would certainly not have that. But yeah, I don't know. I know obviously going on about it, but I do think the left one is a great combination of Macquarie's concept with a not Star Trek TOS spin, which is what they're doing. So I could have kind of got behind that one a little bit, I think.
I prefer that one as well. I mean, it does have that, like I said, more of the Star Trek vibe. Just the small little things. The proportions are important. Mm-hmm. JJ, I'm looking at you. Mm-hmm. The fact that there are struts for the nacelles as opposed to being basically attached to the secondary hull. So that's the one I prefer.
It also feels smaller. Because the source is smaller and more proportioned with the hull, it feels smaller. It feels more... You know, yes, the shuttle bay is big, but if that's a single floor, it's long, but it's not necessarily cavernous, you know. And I kind of like it. Like, the Discovery is way too big, obviously, even with the nacelles taking up, you know, half the length. It is too big for its era. But this, having a nice small ship, personal... I would have really bought that, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with a few minor changes, I would have really liked to see that one. Just spin those nacelles around, please. And yeah, but yeah, I mean, you can see the iterative step between the last one we looked at and the final version here. And again, directives are everything. I'd like to know what they were saying to them each time they saw these. Like, change this. We don't want the cylinders. We want to get rid of those cylinders. We don't want to look, you know, like TOS. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure they said, nope, they're two. No, they're half cylinders. Nope, we want no cylinders. And
now, John, you know better.
Flat hull. Yeah. Why? Because we want a flat hull. Why?
Because this looks too good. Looks too much like Star Trek.
I mean, it is a bizarrely flat hull. I mean, what? It's weird. I mean, and again, it's such a two-dimensional ship. Having the pylons go up would have made such a huge difference in the flow of it. But again, that was too Star Trek. You know, giving its own unique vibe is important. It has its own thing. So I see why. But again, they're divorcing it from the Trek, but then they're still claiming it fits into Trek. Can't really have your pie and eat it or your cake and eat it too. Either you're being different on purpose or you're being considerably the same on purpose. You know, it's like one or the other. You can't really be both, unless you're saying that the designer that happened to design it in the universe was like, you know what, guys, I'm gonna build it like the Andorians would. Humans, we don't want human styles, and so just build it completely antithetical, which is plausible. Except for the insides, you can't justify those. See, outsides you can sort of justify because they're relative. You know, like the color scheme. Well, it's a Tellarite armor. Okay. You know what I mean?
Built around the shipyards around Tellar, yeah. Yeah,
but insides are more difficult. But yes, basically these are both interesting, both steps, and I'm thinking that the right hand one, the slits in the hull, are for when it was still the alpha version, whereby it had push-ins, not full holes, which I kind of like better. But I do think the impulse drives should have been in the saucer. That looks better.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
There we go.
But you can't have a spinny thing with impulse engines there, I guess. Anyway, guys, so this is our look at some of the concept sketches. We are going to be doing all the other ones as well. So stay tuned for those separate videos. But if you want to help us make those videos, because we love talking about ships and we love these concept designs, and eventually we do want to get Johnny on to talk about it. So if you want to help us out, you can do so by heading over to Patreon. There's a link in the description below, or Trekyards.com and click the donate button. Every little bit you can give us helps out, and we love making this content and we love sharing it with you guys. So if you want to help, you can do so.
Yeah, or just spread the word. Always important. And make sure you like these videos, like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, because you can't like it, but you can subscribe to it. Click that bell notification, because that means you are up to date. And of course, we're on the Facebook pages, the discussion, because I mean, Discovery was a big thing a couple of months ago. Kind of lessening a little bit now, but there's always new things, and some of the video games and Eaglemoss are releasing new things, so there's always little bits of new discussion, and I'm sure when other concept art comes out, we'll talk about that stuff, because Discovery is an enigma wrapped inside a puzzle, wrapped inside a potentially a weird legal of what they can and can't use in Prime. All interesting. So until next discussion, I am Commander Coggins.
And I'm Captain Foley. And we'll see you guys soon.
Bye, guys.